Monsters of the Deep by TDA 12345. I had hoped that my last post about the things in my old house would be my last tale of the fantastic, but fate had a different plan. In the years since I moved, I went back to school and got 3 more doctorates in astronomy, biology, and engineering. These degrees are what got me onto a ship headed for Antarctica for a 2-month-long research trip. We left port from Brazil on 3 ships: the Pathfinder, the Trident, and the Legion. My ship was the Trident, which was the smallest of the 3 ships. Our goal was to track the movements of giant squid, which is easier said than done because, if done improperly, catching the squids can turn them into this goo-like paste. It only took a week for us to run into a storm, which shouldn't be a cause for concern, except for what I saw. It was the arguable coolest thing that I have ever seen. A bioluminescent giant squid. It must have been brought up by the storm, and I can say it was the best part of the trip. After a couple dozen pictures with the crew and the squid, we tagged it and let it back into the water. After a couple of days, the squid was still following us, but then something weird happened. The tracker showed an increase in heat and a sudden drop to the ocean floor, and when I tried to report it to my peers, they just said it was a faulty tracker. But after the recordings of my old house, I don't know what to believe anymore. 3 weeks into the trip, we hit a massive storm, and the ships had to spread out so they wouldn't hit each other. I decided to go up into the deck and look around and try to find any rare fish brought up by the storm, but what I saw was much larger. It was a massive eye larger than the Pathfinder, a ship that is over 500 feet, and it just stared at the ship. Then a massive tentacle raised out of the water and smashed the Pathfinder into 2 pieces that were quickly pulled under by 2 more tentacles. Some of the remaining crew were trying to send out distress signals, but all that could be heard were bulkhead bursting under the pressure. The next day, the captain said that the Pathfinder sank due to rough seas and that all hands were taken care of. Everyone believed his lie, well, everyone except me, that is. So for the next week, I started to gather evidence of the true fate of the Pathfinder. At first, it was only little things like slipped a word or 2, but things became darker. The submersibles we sent out to look for the remains of the ship were either destroyed by an unknown entity or were caught in the nets and had their connection cords cut. It looked like we would never find the wreck until sonar ping showed it was right underneath us and moving. Quickly, a team was dispatched to investigate. When the submarine team caught up with the ship, all they could say was that it was being dragged, and that we needed to turn back as fast as we can. Then a loud bang was heard, and the submarine was spun, throwing the drivers around. The last we saw was a giant eye and the glass shattering and sand flowing in. Shocked at what we just saw, we demanded that the captain turn the ship around, but he just said that there was only enough fuel to reach the research base. And so we pressed on, heading farther south and farther from safety with each passing day. Then another storm hit, but the eye was gone for the first couple of days. Then, about a week into the storm, it showed up again, and this time I had a camera to record everything. The eye shadowed the Legion for about a day, and its tentacles picked up the boat and raised it well over 100 feet into the air, where it then proceeded to dump the boat over, spilling the crew out into the open water, where a 100-foot beak would eat the crew. Then there was no more crew left. The creature threw the Legion. When the ship hit the water, it burst open. As soon as the Legion sank, the storm cleared up and the creature disappeared. I now had solid proof that something had destroyed the other 2 ships. I went to confront the captain. When I showed the captain my recording of the creature, he could only shout, "You shouldn't have done that," and he chased me out of his room. I can deal with this loony of a captain for a few more days, I thought to myself. When we got to the research base, 5 helicopters were dispatched to pick me up and the other scientist. I finally had someone in charge to show my recording to other than the captain. I was the first one on the helicopter since I was one of the more vital members of the team. The helicopter was no more than 50 feet away from the Trident when the creature emerged. Instead of waiting, it bit the ship in half and dragged down 3 of the other helicopters. The 4th managed to get farther than the others, but was quickly pulled under by the creature. We are now about to evacuate the base and head inland to another research base where we can get evacuated from there.